Car rental insurance in Ireland can feel overwhelming, and I know it's not the most exciting topic. But stick with me. I'm going to make this as simple and as painless as possible. And by the end of this, you're going to know exactly what kind of coverage you need, what you can skip, and how to avoid the costly surprises at the rental desk. Welcome to another Traveling in Ireland Quick Tips episode, where I usually share, one short, simple tip to make your trip easier. I'm Jody Halstead, Ireland travel advisor and host of the Traveling in Ireland podcast. Now, today's tip is a little different. It's not so quick, but it is one of the most important things you need to understand when you rent a car in Ireland. Now, if you're on any forums or asking questions, there's a lot of conflicting advice, and not all of it can make sense when you're asking about car rental insurance. So what I'm going to do is break these things down for you in the simplest ways possible. Hopefully, it's going to help you understand what you need, what you might be able to use, and what you really want to be aware of. Okay, so first things first. What is the rental car coverage in Ireland, and why do you need it? By far, this is probably the question I answer most often. So in Ireland, you have what is called the CDW, or Collision Damage Waiver. Now, in some countries, you can opt out of CDW, but it is a mandatory coverage in Ireland. And when you're renting a car, you're going to see that all of the car rentals have CDW, Basic Collision Damage Waiver, included in the rates. Now, what that does is it covers the liability for material damage. So it's the basic is included, the minimal amount. Now, that limits the liability for damage to the vehicle, but it doesn't completely cover it. So the amount over and above that basic CDW that is included in the car rental is called the excess. And the excess coverage can begin around €2,500 per vehicle. Now, depending on the type of vehicle that is, it can be quite a bit higher. If there's damage to the car that is in excess of that basic, that 2,500 that is automatically included, then you are responsible for that amount. So this is where the confusion comes in, because people will say, my car rental includes collision damage waiver, which is true, but it's not fully covered. So hopefully that's out of the way. So you have three basic options when you're looking at covering the excess. So today we're going to break those down point by point and hopefully make sense of it all. So option number one is to hold the excess amount on your credit card. So if you are using, let's say, Irish car rentals. This is my car rental partner in Ireland. It is the company that I use most often, like 99% of the time. And I do have a special offer for my listeners. If you use my URL, IrelandFamilyVacations.com/ICR, then you will get a 10% discount, and it puts it in right there. So anyway, if you have a credit card that will cover the excess amount, then you would just click this button here that says, I have a credit card that covers car rental insurance. Now, what I want to show you is that you're going to get the damage waiver and theft protection information right there. So it tells you exactly what you need. So it says that you must hold an eligible card. So not all credit cards will cover Ireland. So even if your credit card says it covers car rental insurance, you want to definitely be sure that it covers car rental insurance in Ireland specifically. You must have a letter from your credit card company confirming that you have relevant coverage in the Republic, and you will be required to leave an excess of €5,000. Drivers who arrive without a relevant card and letter, or those who do not have €5,000 available on their card, will be required to pay for the collision damage protection and theft protection cover, which is the excess that we're going to talk about next. So you can cover this with your credit card, as long as your credit card offers that coverage. Now, there are a couple of things that you need to know when you are thinking about covering with a credit card. Number one, you have to have the amount of money available on your card for that coverage. So at a minimum, it's going to be €5,000 as a hold on that credit card. It can go up higher. It just depends on what kind of car you're renting. So if you're renting, a luxury BMW or something like that, the cost is going to be higher. The hold is going to be higher. Another thing you need to realize is that, number one, it has to be on the card that you use to rent the car. But number two, if there is any damage to the car, then that damage is going to be withheld or paid through that hold that you gave, right? And then you have to turn in the insurance paperwork or the damage paperwork from the car rental company to the insurance company for the credit card. Now, hopefully it's a straightforward process. However, it isn't always. When I used a credit card to cover my car rental, it took 3 months for all of the paperwork and everything to get sent to me so I could send it to the insurance company. So I'm going to say that if you are not able to pay off any damages when you arrive home, so you're not carrying a credit card balance waiting for that insurance to pay out, then I wouldn't necessarily use this coverage, because heaven forbid you cause $5,000 worth of damage. You've got a $5,000 bill sitting on your credit card, and you think, well, I'm not going to pay it because insurance is going to pay it. But if it's going to be months, nobody's paying that interest but you. So really think about the worst case scenario when you're thinking about utilizing that credit card coverage. And if it's worth that to you, if you're not able to pay off that excess amount, because in all honesty, the amount of money that you would pay for the excess coverage is probably less than the interest you would end up paying if you had that $5,000 charge sitting on your card for a few months. So just something to think about. Now, alternately, if you don't damage the car, then that money is returned to your card. No deductions, no deposits. Option number 2 is to purchase the vehicle excess. It can be called CDW excess, it can be called CDI excess, it can be called super CDW, it can be called super damage waiver. Unfortunately, there is not a standard for what it is named. So we're going to go to Irish Car Rentals, and I'm going to show you what that super CDW looks like. So we are renting a car in October for a week, doing a wee search, and I'm just going to choose this little car right here. So you can see the price breakdown, and then what it's offering me is premium protection. This is going to reduce my liability on the car in case of an accident to zero. So it would take it from $1,800 to zero for collision. Also covers theft, windscreen glass, lights, and tires. So by adding that, it's adding €154 to my rental. So it's more than doubled my rental, which we went over in the previous episode when we were talking about fees. But I have a zero deductible on this. So I could literally total this vehicle, and I would call and they would say, okay, have a nice day. Your rental contract is terminated. So I would also be out of vehicle, but I would not have any liability to replace the vehicle. So I'd have nothing, no credit card charges, no extra charges coming out. It covers the excess. Now, some companies don't offer a zero deductible. They will offer €100 deductible or a €250 deductible. So you have to really be aware of what you're purchasing. But I like it because you can literally just drive without any worries. Um, it really is kind of that worry-free kind of thing where there's no stress. You don't have to take a picture of every single ding and scratch. It really is just very comforting, I guess. It's the option I choose almost all the time, to be honest. I like having the full coverage, knowing that I don't have any worries. It covered tires, it covers windscreen, so fully covered. The pros of using the super collision damage waiver are that it has a zero or low deductible. So there's no extra money being held. There's no surprising bill at the end, and you don't have to worry if you bust off one of the side mirrors or you scratch it along a hedgerow. There's no worries. The cons obviously are that it is an extra fee on top of what you're already paying. It can easily double, sometimes even triple your car rental rate. But again, it's the option that I choose 99% of the time, just because I don't want the hassle with my credit card. And it's usually not the credit card that's the hassle. It's usually getting the paperwork and making sure you have it all. Because it's a travel insurance product, and you have to make sure that you have every single bit of paperwork. And let me tell you, getting that paperwork after the fact from Ireland is a hassle. And I don't like to bring hassles home with me from vacation. So your third option is a third-party insurance coverage. So sometimes you're going to see insurance offered when you book through a site like Discover Cars. Now, their policies aren't necessarily what they look like. They're reimbursement policies. So it's very much like if you're using your credit card. So if something happens, you pay the rental company first, and then you get your money back from that insurer. Now, with some companies like Discover Card, I think it's a $250 deposit that you'll have to pay, and that's the top amount that's going to be off your credit card. But it really gets tricky. Like with booking sites like Expedia and Travelocity, the coverages offered vary by state, and they'll vary by rental company. And so you really have to look and make sure you know what you're getting. So I'm going to just pull up Expedia and just give you a quick look at what you can expect. So I've got Expedia pulled up here, and we will go with, let's see, let's go with Enterprise on this midsize SUV. So we start off with our price of $62 a day. We have our location for drop off and pickup, and it says you can add your insurance plan on the next page. So let's go to the next page. So they have the car rental damage protection at $14 per day. So this is about half the price of what you're paying an Irish car rental company. And that's a little bit of a red flag. So what you've got is it covers your rental car for certain vandalism and collision damage. It does have a zero deductible, up to $50,000 in primary coverage, which should be enough to cover this vehicle. So let's view the insurance disclosures. So here's what you need to look at. So we've got this Travel Guard by AIG is the policy they use. Then you need to check your specific state, because the policies change by state, by what they're allowed. So I live in Iowa, so we're going to check that. So they already know. It says, if the rental agency does not accept this coverage and inquires the insured to purchase another rental vehicle damage policy, you must contact AIG to obtain a refund. So then it lists your coverages. It lists the exclusions. So you need to just go through these and know what is and what isn't covered. So you have baggage coverage. This is more of a travel insurance policy if you look at it, because it lists trip delay, baggage coverage, baggage delay, and then you have your rental vehicle damage coverage. And it tells you that it's a primary coverage. The company will pay first, but reserves the right to recover from any other party involved. There's a possibility that it won't be accepted. And then you have exclusions. So you need to read these carefully. So rentals of exotic vehicles aren't covered. Damage to any other vehicle or person. The decreased value of the vehicle as a result of the accident and subsequent repairs are not covered. So there's a lot that isn't actually included when you dig into these policies. And those are the reasons that a lot of these policies aren't accepted. Either they aren't for enough coverage, or they have all these exclusions that mean that it's going to be very difficult for them to cover an accident. So you really need to dig into those, and it's no fun. Reading insurance policies is probably one of the worst things to do ever. So it can be a hassle. So the thing that I want you to understand is that if you are buying a third-party policy, there is a possibility that it just isn't going to have enough coverage to be accepted, and it will be declined, and then you're not going to have a letter from your credit card, and you'll have to buy the coverage at the car rental counter. Or if it is accepted and you do have an accident, finding out that it's not enough coverage at that time is even worse. But those are your three options when you're looking at your coverages for your car rental. You have the option to cover it with your credit card. Just keep in mind the hold and the possibility of the paperwork you need not being expedited, shall we say. You have the super collision or premium protection, however the car rental company states it. Now that, again, the con on that is that it is going to double or possibly triple your car rental price. But the pro is that it really is hassle-free. There's nothing else to worry about, which is what I like. And then the third option is that travel insurance or third-party coverage. And the thing you have to do with that is just know exactly what's expected of you. It should be outlined for you. It should be clear, but it's not always. And sometimes you have to do a little bit of digging to really know what is covered, what isn't covered, how much is the coverage, how much is the vehicle that I'm driving worth, and will that coverage cover it? If it won't, then it might be declined. So you have to do a little bit more legwork on this. And in my mind, it just adds stress, it adds worry, and personally, I don't need that kind of hassle when I'm traveling. So I choose the option that's going to give me the least hassle and the most confident in the fact that I'm covered if anything happens. So I hope that was helpful. I hope that didn't confuse you more. Because, like I said, this is the least fun topic in all of Ireland travel planning, is the car rental insurance. But now that that's sorted, the next step is to make sure that you are comparing your quotes fairly. So in the next episode, I'm going to show you how to read them apples to apples, what to look for when the quotes aren't identical, and teach you how to make a fair comparison so you are getting the best car rental price and everything that you need. Thanks so much for joining me. Slán for now.